Hey everybody, my name's Alex. I work for a super private encrypted messaging app called Session, and today I'm going to be reviewing privacy scenes from television and movies. This clip is from The Dark Knight.
Beautiful, isn't it?
Beautiful, unethical, dangerous. You've turned every cell phone in Gotham into a microphone.
So this is kind of true. We are pretty much carrying microphones and cameras around with us all the time in our mobile phones, and what we see Morgan Freeman say here as well is also really true. We've seen engineers and product leads leave companies like Facebook and Google because they're super worried about the ethics of what they're doing. Now, a lot of the time, they're not actually successful in preventing those companies from doing those things. They're just going to kind of keep on going and do it anyway. But it's really respectable that he tries to stop Batman from doing this.
You took my sonar concept and applied it to every phone in the city. With half the city feeding you sonar, you can image all of Gotham. This is wrong.
I've got to find this man, Lucius.
At what cost?
So we have seen this play out as well a lot of the time in real life. We have technology, a lot of the time it's things like facial recognition tech, where you will see maybe the Batman or maybe just the police try to justify some technology that is clearly unethical, but they're saying, hey, the ends justify the means here. We're trying to catch a horrible criminal, or in this case, he's trying to catch the Joker. But, Morgan Freeman is totally right when he says, no, we can't just do this because you think that your cause is justified this time. Think about the broader perspective here and what this means for everybody else. All of these unwilling people in Gotham who you've just hacked their phones and started surveilling more or less every single person in the city.
It can only be accessed by one person.
This is too much power for one person.
That's why I gave it to you. Only you can use it.
Spying on 30 million people isn't part of my job description. I'll help you this one time. But consider this my resignation. As long as this machine is at Wayne Enterprises, I won't be.
When you're finished, type in your name. Sometimes people deserve to have their faith rewarded.
So although they've just done a really horrible thing here in surveilling 30 million people in this city, they are doing the right thing at the end here. So when you have sensitive data, or when a company has collected a bunch of sensitive data when you don't need it anymore, and I suppose in the context of this movie, once the criminal has been caught and you say, oh, I don't need all of this information from spying on a bunch of people anymore, you should absolutely delete that sensitive data. We've seen a bunch of times where companies have had some kind of data breach and information that is in some cases years old ends up being exposed when they had no reason to still be holding on to that data. And we're seeing now regulation around the world, which is coming in and compelling, in some cases, companies to delete that data, and in other cases, compelling them to hold on to it for a certain amount of time. In this case, certainly a good idea to delete this data because what they're doing is super illegal. Moving on, this scene is from The Social Network.
I'm a little intoxicated, I'm not gonna lie. So what if it's not even 10 p.m. and it's a Tuesday night? Really? The Kirkland Facebook is open on my desktop, and some of these people have pretty horrendous Facebook pics. Oh no! Billy Olson's sitting here and had the idea of putting some of the pictures next to pictures of farm animals and have people vote on who's hotter. Good call, Mr. Olson. Yeah, it's on. I'm not going to do the farm animals, but I like the idea of comparing two people together. It gives the whole thing a very Turing feel, since people's ratings of the pictures will be more implicit than, say, choosing a number to represent each person's hotness like they do on hotornot.com. The first thing we're going to need is a lot of pictures. Unfortunately, Harvard doesn't keep a public centralized Facebook, so I'm going to have to get all the images from the individual houses that people are in. Let the hacking begin.
So here we see Jesse Eisenberg as a young Mark Zuckerberg complaining that there's no public centralized Facebook for Harvard. But then, as we know, what Mark Zuckerberg eventually went on to do was create exactly that, a public, centralized Facebook, but not just for Harvard, obviously for everybody on the whole world, which has a lot of the negative privacy implications that he ends up managing to maneuver his way around to create this face smash website. But now you could pretty much just scrape Facebook and find pictures like this.
We're ranking girls.
You mean other students?
Yeah.
You think this is such a good idea?
I need the algorithm.
Alright.
I need the algorithm.
One on the left.
The right?
Left.
The right?
It works.
Who should we send it to first?
Dwyer.
Neil.
Who are you gonna send it to?
Just a couple of people. The question is, who are they gonna send it to?
Hey guys, check this out.
Someone go to the left because you left.
Look at these girls. Right or left? Left is left. Yeah.
So unfortunately, what we're seeing here really does come close to what the nature of the internet is, and that is once you put something on the internet, it is on there. And in this case, a lot of these pictures, which is personal identifying information for all of these people, were supposed to be private or supposed to have limited access, but they ended up being exposed and uploaded, and that's a huge privacy invasion. Moving on, this scene is from Minority Report.
Imagine a world without murder.
I lost my best friend.
I lost my aunt.
I lost my
I
dad.
lost my father.
I lost my wife.
Just 6 years ago, the homicide rate in this country had reached epidemic proportions. It seemed that only a miracle could stop the bloodshed. But instead of one miracle, we were given 3, the precognitives. Within just 1 month under the PreCrime program, the murder rate in the District of Columbia was reduced 90%.
So here's the thing, this is ridiculous. We see this a lot of the time in technology as well, where people will take a societal or a cultural issue, like in this case, it's the homicide rate, and go, hey, can we use technology or can we use precognates to solve this widespread, systemic issue in our society? The answer in both cases is absolutely not. This is fraught with danger, and that's not how we should try and solve these problems.
They were going to be waiting for me in the car.
He was gonna rape me.
I was going to be stabbed.
Right here.
Within a year, PreCrime effectively stopped murder in our nation's capital.
In the 6 years we've been conducting our little experiment, there hasn't been a single murder.
And now PreCrime can work for you.
We want to make absolutely certain that every American can bank on the utter infallibility of this system, and to ensure that what keeps us safe.
I'm getting real Amazon Ring camera vibes from this whole situation here. Like, it is not cool. We get these promises as well a lot of the time with technology. It's like, yeah, put a camera out the front of your house, and no one can break in, and if they do break in, you'll see him, and we can even call the police for you, and they'll be there in a flash. And it's like, maybe this is actually a really bad idea.
Also keep us free.
Pre-crime? It works.
It works.
It works.
It works. It works.
On Tuesday, April 22nd, vote yes on the National PreCrime Initiative.
The argument that PreCrime works, even if this did work, is a horrible idea. So we've seen this deployed in some police departments over in the US, where they'll use algorithms to try and figure out what area and at what time there's most likely going to be a crime, and use that to try and deploy police around the streets in those areas. But what you end up with is communities that are super over-policed and really bad outcomes. So let's maybe skip the pre-crime thing. This one is from an episode of Futurama.
But my favorite app is called Twitcher. Twitcher lets you send and receive short messages or videos called twits.
Oh, that reminds me. It's time to twit my hourly twupdate. Sup, followers? Fry here. Burping eggs. Scratching my underarm fungus. Looking for love. Send.
Underarm fungus?
So this is actually a really accurate representation of how more and more we're documenting even the most banal parts of our lives online. And while that is cool in some ways in that we can connect a lot more with people who aren't necessarily physically there with us. You also have to consider the privacy implications, right? Like if you're going to share every second of your life online, that's going to be there forever.
Too much information. Ow!
It's exactly the right amount of information. For years, I've collected personal data with old-fashioned methods like spy bots and infoskeetos.
This guy sure loves porno.
But now, thanks to Twitcher, morons voluntarily spew out every fact I need to exploit them.
This is completely true. So social media and modern technology has more or less created like the perfect surveillance system, bigger than any surveillance network that has ever existed or been possible ever before. Obviously, like all the way throughout history, there has been surveillance, there have been spy networks, there have been not mosquitoes draining information out of your brain, but lots of different things. But the internet and social media, people are just offering this information up now.
Target acquired, Mother.
Fire direct marketing algorithm!
Do you suffer from the heartbreak of
my underarm fungus?
Then you, Mr. or Mrs., need the soothing relief of Mom's caustic antifungal bleach.
Can I somehow charge it to my iPhone for an additional fee?
Hell yes!
So this is somewhat true. People often talk about receiving creepy ads about things that they've spoken about with a friend and never looked up. The reality is your phone isn't really listening to you. They're not hearing you talk about buying a dog and then sending you an ad for dog food. What's really happening is actually way creepier. They have this really large and holistic image of what your life is like, what your interests are like, and they can do a really good job at predicting what you might be interested in next. And that's how they serve you those creepy ads. This clip is from the Terminal List.
Let me see your phone. Let me see it.
So you should never give some other person physical access to your device under duress like this. Physical access is basically considered full access a lot of the time if you're a privacy or security person. If someone has physical control of your device, chances are they can get into it.
Put your phone on airplane mode, okay? Don't turn it off. Airplane mode. This is a Faraday bag. If you've ever been inside of a skiff, you understand how they work. Unencrypted smartphones are essentially tracking devices that happen to make phone calls. That's how I used to get half my intel overseas. Keeping it.
So this is pretty much completely true. There is some software called Pegasus, which can pretty much be used without you doing anything to infiltrate and compromise your phone. Now, this is only used generally against really high value targets. So if you're just an average person walking around on the street, you probably don't have to worry about it, but it is true that your phone can get hacked super easily.
In the bag. This is a prepaid phone. You're going to use it to contact me, but don't call me on it. Don't text me on it. What you're going to do is use cash.
It used to be the case that getting a prepaid phone was a good option. Obviously, then you don't have to tie your name or identity to a contract that's connected to the phone number. But these days, a lot of countries around the world won't even let you do that. If you want to get a SIM card, if you want to have a phone number, you're going to have to connect your real name, your real identity to it in some way or another.
Purchase a Google gift card. Write this down, please. Use it to set up a Threema account. Don't use WhatsApp. It's compromised, has been for years. Okay? Threema, T-H-R-E-E-M-A. Ben.
So this is kind of funny. It seems a lot like product placement. WhatsApp, it's not known that WhatsApp is compromised, but a lot of people don't trust it because it's owned by Meta. So a lot of people steer away from WhatsApp. And besides encryption, WhatsApp does have a lot of other things about it that are lackluster, such as the phone number requirement, which Threema doesn't have.
I'm giving you my confidential username. Access me on Threema using this. Memorize it and then lose it.
Yeah. It's a lot of caution.
I'm not sure what he means by confidential username here. That doesn't mean anything. It's just a username that I guess is to him a secret, but he did just write it down on a piece of paper. So those are the clips that I have for you today. If you have any questions about privacy, I invite you to come and ask me about them or leave them down in the comments, I suppose, and hopefully you learned something about privacy. See you around.